think we should just go ahead and kick it off now. Might as well. So we got a good crowd of people in here. But welcome everybody to yet another templates showcase. If you are not familiar about how they work, we pretty much just have some of Clay's best experts hop on here and show off some of the amazing templates that they created. And at the end of them, they will share the templates that they created with you and save you ideally hours and hours of time. Um, the last one we had was just amazing, like just an obscene amount of value, and we had a lot of people telling us to do another one. So we decided to refresh the cast and pretty much do the same thing. So without further ado, I will intro our first guy, which is Michel, and he is the founder of Cold IQ. If you haven't seen him on LinkedIn, you're probably not on LinkedIn. He is posting about Clay every day and has just been a huge proponent of the brand and of course is an expert in himself as well. So yeah, he has an insane template to show us and I'll leave it to him to get started.
Thank you, Patrick, for the introduction. Hi, guys. I hear everyone is able to hear me well. As Patrick says, I'm posting about tools every day, but because I'm talking about the best tools, I'm mainly talking about Clay. That said, I wouldn't be able to make a template without describing some other tools I'm using. And so what I'll be doing here is that I'll be showing a workflow where I use RB2B, La Growth Machine, Smart Lead, and Ubiquity. And the whole idea is to start with a visitor on the website all the way through a personalized video. So let me just share my screen and I'm gonna go right through it. So essentially, if you were here, I think 3 weeks ago, you might have seen Taylor showing RB2B. The whole idea is that RB2B identifies visitor at the person level. What you usually get is notifications on your Slack from visitors. So I don't know if you're seeing my Slack here, but just seeing the picture, the profile picture of whoever visits your website. And what's great with this is that you can actually send all of this data through Clay via webhook, and you get the first name, last name, company name, websites, LinkedIn profile URL, and the page that those people visited. And so what I'm doing with that is I will enrich the data and personalize based on the page they were on. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm looking at if the prospects fit my ICP. So here is a very simple formula. I decided to go broad. So I'm just looking at if the people are manager or more. And if there are a decision maker in the company, then I'm including them in my enrichment. And the first thing I'm doing is I'm validating those email addresses, and I'm doing a bunch of enrichments. So this is usually something you might have done a few times if you used Clay, but the whole idea is that you can enrich the LinkedIn profile of each person based on the URL, and based on that, you get their latest experience, their job title, their summary, and their website. And so the whole idea with this is that with RB2B, I was missing some data. So I'm able to get the company websites. I think I'm hearing some echo.
Sorry, hold on. I'll mute the person making that noise. Keep going. Sorry, Michel.
Thank you very much. And so yeah, and so I end up with all the domains from my prospects, which means I'm able to enrich the email addresses of all the remaining ones I didn't have email addresses for. So here you can see I end up with a column with all those final email addresses. And so what I'm doing then is one of the personalization I like to do is to look at a company and look at what's one of their strengths to make it and to use it, excuse me, in my smart lead sequences. So here, it's a ClayGen prompt where I'm asking the ClayGen to look at the company's website and then to tell me one thing that the company does very well. And based on that, I'm asking it to summarize this in one line, and I want it to be 3 words or less. And the reason why I want it to be 3 words or less is because I'm going to send the data to Ubiquity, and because it's going to be AI voice generated, I need the time for the words being said to be pretty equivalent. I'm going to explain, but essentially what I'm doing then is once I have all those personalization, the first name, the email addresses, and so on, I'm going to send the data via webhook through Zapier. The way it looks like is you can parse the final email, the first name, the company strike, the capture URL, and the merge domains. And then the data is going to be sent to Ubiquity here. And here I recorded a video where I'm essentially talking about the fact that the person visited my website, and I want to help them choose a tool. So here you can see I have my script here. Once I do my script, I just have to select the part where the variable is dynamic. I change it. And then the personalization will be added to all my videos. And so just so you see the rest, I send those videos, I get back the GIF, the video URL here, and then all the data is sent to Smart Leads. And the way it looks like is within Smart Leads, I have my first email that's just a basic email with personalization. And what I wanted to show is the second email, which is essentially the video. So the way you would copy paste the video URL is by having like this parameter, and you need to put the no code view within Smart Leads, and then the GIF URL. So all this data is passed through Clay, and you can see how it looks like in the final review. So you see that for each leads, if I select the second email, I have like a small GIF, and each of these will be different for each prospect. And if I click, or if the prospect clicks on the link, they'll be able to see my personalized video with the personalization that was added through Clay. I don't know if you would hear it if I play it, but essentially this is, tell me if you can hear.
It seems that you were looking at some AI sales tools on Kodaku's website earlier today. Don't worry, I'm not spying on you. I actually got the information from another of the sales software on the page. I just wanted to record a quick video to see if I could help you in your search. It took me a long time actually to create this list. So I might have a few relevant suggestions for you, just in case you want more companies to know about how you're optimizing sales engagement at Outplay. Let me know if I can help, and I wish you a great day. Bye.
And so that's how I automate like the whole workflow from visitor identification to personalized videos. And so, as you might have heard in the beginning and in the end, we've got the personalized snippets that was created through Clay. And so then this campaign can now run evergreen. And every time someone will visit my website, they will end up being entered into my sequence where they will receive a first touch point and then a second touch point with this personalized video. That's it for me for today. And thanks for listening. I hope it was clear enough. We just had 5 minutes, so I did my best here. Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh, that's insane. I hope y'all, I mean, I'm sure you guys feel the same way I do, because I use Clay every day, and that's still insane. Michel, if you could drop the template for that in the chat, that'd be awesome as well.
Yeah,
but
sure.
yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, chat's kind of going crazy too, so I'm sure they feel the same way I do. But yeah, that's awesome. And those videos were like, I mean, like usually I'm like, I don't know, like it's a little iffy, but that was a really good one. So anyway, that was sick. Much appreciated. All right, so yeah, you feel free to get through the link in there, and we'll move on to the next template. So next we have Cody Carnes, founder of How to Use Clay. And he has, of course, been using Clay quite a bit as well. He is one of our certified experts, and he has a pretty sweet template to walk you through as well. So Cody, feel free to go ahead and start walking through yours.
All right, sounds good. How's the audio? You guys hear me well?
We're good. Yep.
All right, cool. Yeah, that one that he showed was pretty insane. Really impressive. Good work on that end. For this, a good client and good friend of mine actually sent me this tweet a couple days ago, and I ended up building out this entire workflow. I think I set like a 10-minute timer, built it out in that time frame. Just wanted to share this with you guys. So this can basically be used for any sort of like trigger-based outbound sequence, right? If you do any sort of offer where you replace a job title, or you do any sort of, or you have some sort of recruiting company, or you have some sort of recruiting company that really values these trigger-based automations. If a company has an active job posting out, I think this is going to be really cool, and I think this is definitely for you. And then we go into using Clay for this part as well, kind of like filtering out the right leads and then scoring the leads based off of just these two criterias. But yeah, this was just like one super quick example. Like I said, this took me like 9 or 10 minutes to build out. And here's the clay table for that. We can go over that in a second, but yeah, the first step is obviously using Appify. You probably don't even need a subscription, like a paid subscription for Appify. I think they give you like a free trial. But we have like a couple minutes left, but either way, put in your job title that you want to go after, and then whatever country, most likely United States, put in the max items as well, run this. And then with Clay, there's actually a direct integration on how you could, directly integrate Appify's API key. With that, just go to settings and then integrations, really quickly grab your API key. This is what you're going to get in terms of the output. Once you actually put in the job title that you want, from there, a lot of this information is really good. The only thing you really need is just the company description and then company domain and then company name. From there, you can use this table. I can share this with you guys to basically go over the entire filters of finding like, look, if it's a good fit, enriching the company, finding the best decision maker, and then, finding their email as well. I sent this guy a video, basically showing him how to do this, and I sent him the clay table as well. But this is how to find them if they're hiring for a specific job title. And then you could also add them inside of the Smart Lead. I don't think Instantly is there an integration with Instantly yet, Patrick, or is that like in the works?
With Clay?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's an instantly integration. It's quite good too.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so I told him, I said, look, you can do this inside of Clay, and then you can do that as well. And then this part, I can show you guys that real quick. Basically enriching the company based off of their employee size. And then for ClayGent, you can basically, whatever a VA would do, whatever an SDR would do to see if it's a good fit. For this guy, he basically wanted to see like, look, we want to make sure that this company is not an IT service provider themselves. And then what you could do as well, when you're doing this automation, you can also basically duplicate this ClayGent and then make sure that this company is not in the staffing or recruiting industry as well. Because a lot of these job postings from like LinkedIn Jobs, from Indeed, from Google Jobs, they're on behalf of big companies, but they're recruiting companies. So you don't want to reach out directly to the recruiting companies. And then, yeah, you can do this as well. Forgot to mention, you can set up like 3 to 4 different job sources and then 3 to 4 different clay tables. You can set this up like, let's say like every day, like 6 p.m., you want to scrape every single job posting from these 3 job sources and then push those into a clay table, automatically enrich them based off of, the table that you have. For this, he only wanted to target these lower companies. So this one is basically disqualified right away. And then we use ClayGent to find the key decision maker. Just a super quick prompt, super easy prompt. I'm sure there's a better one, but like I said, I took like 10 minutes to build this. A quick prompt like that. And then I basically ran it again if it didn't work. If I said like, look, if the output is not, you're not 100% confident of the output being, the full name, then put NA. And if that's NA, then it would find it on LinkedIn. And then you have the find email integration to find the verified decision makers email address. And then I think for this account that we have, it is not on the $350 a month plan, but you could easily add it to Smart Lead or Instantly. And then your CRM as well. I don't know what CRM he uses. Pretty sure he uses HubSpot. So I told him like, look, you can set it up directly from here. So here's that like quick prompt and then a little bit of context. And that is the clay table you could use for that. I'm sure I could, after this call right now, I can add in like a quick waterfall email enrichment, but that's basically what that is. And I'll share that clay table as well.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Cody. Yeah, Appify is so insane. And Clay finally having an integration with it is unbelievable because I just feel like the sources before Appify were so limited. Like, I mean, like you could get a ton from them, like LinkedIn, you could do an Apollo export, but now Appify just kind of opens up being able to scrape essentially anything. So anyway, that's awesome. Yeah, if you could drop the template for that into the chat, would be awesome. I'm sure people are going to want it. All right, sweet. So next we have Jim Poe, founder of Declarative Cloud. Yet another absolute expert at Clay. We only bring the best onto these webinars. And he's got yet another template to show you guys. So again, I'll just leave it be and feel free to go ahead and start showing us, Jim.
Cool. Thanks a lot. Thanks for the intro. I love those previous 2 templates as well. Yeah, I'm coming at this from a founder-led sales prospecting perspective. And so I just wanted to show a template that I extracted out of an actual campaign that I ran, changed it up a little bit for the demo. And this is using Store Lead. So if you're not familiar with it, there you can go straight to the Store Lead site and browse around on the free plan, I think, and it's basically a database of e-commerce. Clay has an integration with it. If you just hit add enrichment and search for store leads, you'll be able to pull that in. And basically, I'll send out this template and just to show you what you would get with this template if you copy it to your workspace, and I'll kick it off and then explain a little bit more. So basically, you'll just put in a domain. So Ruggable is a Shopify store, and it's basically going to go out to store leads and pull in a whole bunch of interesting data. So everything from, like how many product variants, the last product uploaded, the average price. There's a lot of really interesting data in there. And I think on the full plan, you can even get like the actual products as well. And so basically, I'm going to show you a more full example here. I want to show how you can take a data source like store leads. I mean, it could be LinkedIn as well. And basically just use that to create some snippets for personalization in an email. And so here, this was just a campaign to a bunch of Shopify stores. So I've enriched a whole 27,000 companies here. And just to show what it's like to browse through the data that comes back from store leads a little bit. So you can see the theme that they're using, which apps are installed, which I think could be a really interesting use case for a campaign. Yeah, I think I mentioned a bunch of the other stuff. So I've just pulled out a few here for the purposes of demonstration, to the title, the store description, and the product category. And what I want to do with this workflow to create these snippets is basically to try to use the AI enrichment to create some phrases that sound natural when they're used in an email. And that's one of probably the biggest challenge of doing something like this, I find, is that the language just doesn't sound natural. So a lot of the prompts, and you'll be able to see the prompt in the template, but I'll bring it up here. So basically just passing in these other fields. If it's not always there, you can toggle that off. And the prompt is essentially just trying to, make the output sound convincing and not like sort of overly descriptive, or having like product names with trademarks and things like that in there. So that's the first column. And then to kind of create some variation, this prompt's a little bit more complicated. And what it's doing is creating a phrase that says, this product and this other product. So I'll just show that prompt a little longer. And you'll see, like, as we go along in the prompts, you get increasingly strict with the large language model here in terms of the output, because that's really challenging to get the case. Like if you want it all lowercase, or you want the product names to not be lowercase, and stripping out symbols and things like that. That's a lot of, I think, the challenge in creating these prompts. So just to show what those two, the output that it might produce, this isn't the actual copy that I use, but basically, you can have kind of a sentence and then replacing just key parts of those sentences with the output of the model, basically. So we can click through a couple more just to show you that variation. I will say you should read through as many of these as you can, because you might get some surprising results from some of the stores. And you don't want to, approach like an e-commerce store talking about their products and in a way that wouldn't be the way that they would talk about their products. So that's kind of the challenge there. And then lastly, this is more experimental. I didn't actually use this in a campaign, but I wanted to show how you could use Clayagent to do something similar. So this prompt is using Clayagent and essentially asking Clayagent to go out to the store, look at the homepage, and try to determine what are they promoting right now. And I actually found that this will even, it'll even look at pop-ups, like if you get sort of a promotional pop-up when you go to the store, and accurately pull in the information. And so, yeah, this prompt's a little bit longer, and didn't spend quite as much time on getting it to produce an exact phrasing, but if you just kind of scroll through here, you can see that it's bringing back those promotions. So hopefully that gives you guys some inspiration. I'm going to put the link in the chat. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Amazing. Appreciate it, Jim. Yeah, store leads is so underrated in my opinion as an enrichment. I mean, if you're running any sort of outbound to e-com stores, it's like by far and away the best one to use. I mean, like I have a few clients and I'm sure, Jim has some as well, hence the template being made that like if they're reaching out to e-com people, like it's so much better, like far better than LinkedIn as an import, far better than Apollo. Like for ecom specifically, like it is just absolutely rips. And the data you can get from Clay via store leads is like very accurate, which is often difficult to find, especially for ecom.
It's a great holiday shopping guide as well. When you're browsing through there, it's like every brand you've ever
Oh
heard
yeah,
of.
no, absolutely, no. I totally agree. Like sometimes I'll just do like for some of my clients, we have like these massive companies that we're importing from store leads. And I'm like, dang, I kind of forgot about them. Like they kind of do have good products. Like maybe Christmas shopping in April, using store leads. But regardless, awesome. Appreciate it. If you could drop I don't know if you dropped it in there already, but if you could drop that in the chat as well, the shared table link, I'm sure people will be using it. All right, awesome. So moving on, we now have our next guest, which is Josh Whitfield, founder of Content Marketing Media. He's been a Clay expert for the past couple months, but has been in Clay for significantly longer. And again, we have a pretty heavy vetting process for our experts, especially now, just because like it's actually growing so much as a tool. We have to actually start vetting people, and so just know like anybody who's recently joined, you can definitely trust with your templates. So anyway, I'll have him walk through his table, and yeah, feel free to go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, thanks. So this one was kind of a experimental, but then, also how cool can I make it approach. So just to kind of give you an idea, some of you have probably played with GPT Vision, but the goal with this one was to actually bring in GIFs from Apify. So I won't go into Apify too much. I mean, there's a GIF scroll animation there. I just pointed it to a website. Cody went into it a little bit, so I won't go through the whole process, but just keep in mind, it's a pretty, as Patrick mentioned, Cody mentioned, it's a very affordable tool for what it can do. So it's super powerful, and it's easy to bring in directly into Clay. So I brought in an animation of my own website, and I'll just show you really quickly. If I click on it, hopefully it'll pop up here. Yeah, so it's just a GIF animation of our website. And I wanted to see, can I use GPT Vision to actually read that GIF? And sure enough, we can. Drop some lead data in there. This is obviously my own contact for demonstration purposes, but what we get with the GPT image model is pretty incredible, right? So the output that we see here is it's actually able to read in depth our website. Everything from, we have a free website analysis on our website. It talks about our value, where we put our content, and even goes further into some of our conversion optimization services, et cetera. So that was kind of the first test there with that. And we thought that was pretty powerful because obviously you could point GPT Vision to anything. The next thing we did is we dropped in an enrichment feature, bless you, from LinkedIn, and we pulled, just some simple data. Obviously, there's a lot more in this enrichment, but like description, industry, et cetera. And then we wanted to do a brand analysis. So the idea here is, could we compare that GIF or that website GPT Vision output to their LinkedIn and see where there's gaps? So we wrote a pretty complex prompt. I mean, to be fair, it looks complex, but in reality, it's more of just actually going in and asking GPT to do this and write a prompt for us. And then we injected specifically the outputs of the GPT Vision analysis. And, you'll see the prompt when I share it, but, just a lot of, business concepts of consider the impact of the branding, targeting audience, clarification, big GPT words. But at the end of the day, we were trying to say, hey, ultimately, what's the difference between their LinkedIn page and what's the difference between their website? And we got a good, really good usable output from GPT-4. And it gave us, just a great, a great understanding of what are the differences. And so, lots of detailed paragraphs, but we wanted to use other LLMs, right? So we tried it with Claude as well and just use the same prompt and got a lot more concise answer, which I like a lot. Just basically says, hey, you say this on your website, you don't say this on your LinkedIn. Visually, these are the difference. Target audience wise, market positioning wise, these are the difference. And so we took another little, chain of the prompt and said, just give us recommendations. And so that condensed it, down to a couple of paragraphs that said, hey, here are the changes you could make. with one or the other. And then finally, we wanted to kind of turn that into a copy. And so what I like to do in some of our prompts is just inject an offer. That way, when I share that, it can be usable for anybody that's trying to do anything. And so I just put, in this particular offer, we help brands stay consistent with delivering brand messaging that resonates with their core customers, right? But this could be anything. And then again, we wanted to create copy because as Jim mentioned, right, part of creating copy and creating good copy is not making it sound like it was written by GPT. So we tried a little bit with both Claude and GPT-4. I think even with some of the newer models that are coming out, that this will get better, but this is Claude Opus. And so as you can see, it's actually pretty good, right? The goal of it was to say, okay, we've looked at your website, we see some opportunities, here are the discrepancies that we see, and then this is how we can help you, right? So this is customized to specifically that offer that I put in there. And then even when we look at it from an email opening with GPT-4, kind of the same thing, right? It's a little bit different approach. It talks about SEO and sales conversion, a little bit different than Claude, but it's still good copy. It's not so GPT sounding, and that's really kind of the goal of what we were doing. And the way we found we get good results with these prompts, especially in copywriting, is just injecting good information or injecting good outputs. And then, like we've probably all seen with prompt engineering, is a lot of repeating, a lot of telling it, you are sending a cold email, you're not proposing additional work, a lot of specific behavioral type things that you tell GPT to get it to sound like you want to sound. So a lot of customization opportunity here. But I think at the end of the day, the kind of the future for us, or the ability to make this even more functional, is just understanding the concept that from a signal generation perspective, when you can compare things, when you can use things like Vision or even Claygen or Cohere to bring in data and then do analysis, it just gives you an upper edge when you're doing outbound, because you've shown that you've done the work that might warrant a discussion or warrant a meeting. So hopefully that helps. And that's all I've got, Patrick.
Awesome, Josh. Appreciate it. Quick question I had for you, just because I haven't played around with Claude or Cohere as much. When do you find those like other AI integrations to be more effective? Like I saw you use Claude at one point, you used OpenAI and another. Was there like what's the thought behind using those, and what situations do you prefer to use them?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, there's so many large language models that are coming out every single day, right? So that's really the challenge. So I think it's a balance of quality and cost, right? Because, GPT-4 versus GPT 3.5, 20 times different in cost. So I kind of look at both, like, am I getting good output? And then what output am I getting for what cost? And then adjust accordingly. Because if you're going to use anything at scale, paying 20 times more for one row is a significant difference.
Yeah, fair enough. I noticed that cost difference too, and I didn't realize that at first, but man, GPT-4 is a lot more expensive, but it's great. It's a lot better for like those really high level thought processes that you have to feed it sometimes. So anyway, awesome. Appreciate it. If you could throw the link in the chat, so people can have it. And by the way, if you guys aren't like trying to crawl through the chat to find these links, I'm planning on posting them both in the community Slack and on LinkedIn tomorrow. So, if you're not trying to like aggregate them all yourselves, I'll send them out. I'll probably just send them out in like a Luma blast to everybody else. So don't worry about that. All right, we now have our final presenter, David Leonard, founder of the Wingman Agency, yet another highly qualified clay expert with a template to walk us through. After he's done, we will go through and answer some questions. We prefer that the questions are linked to or related in some way to the tables that were built out in this call. We have office hours if you have general clay questions on Tuesday and Thursday. So, definitely save those questions for then. We'd much prefer that we have some of our experts answer questions specifically made for these tables. So anyway, David, feel free to get going.
Yeah, good morning from New Zealand, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yep.
It's going to be hard to compete with all these amazing templates now, but yeah, I'm going to do my best. And before I dive into it, I want to give you just a rough idea what I had in mind with the template that I'm presenting. It's going to be a chain template. It's going to be 3 tables that are chained with each other. And what we wanted to do is, with all the advanced technology that's out there, you have more and more competition in your prospects inbox. So we want to always make sure that every email that we send out or every contact that we initiate, that it's sounds organic, or we have a really organic reason to even send them something in the first place. That was one part of the template I'm going to show. And also we wanted to harness the power of all the news outlets that are out there to our advantage and basically make them work for us to be notified about events that happening that could affect our audience, and then reach out to them. And in this example, what I'm going to show you is we observe severe weather events in Australia through an RSS feed. And then we analyze the affected areas of, the affected areas. And then in those areas, we're going to look for property management firms because this is for a roofing company. So we scan the affected areas with AI. Then for every area, we perform a Google request to find property firms in that area. And then in the final table, we enrich those companies, find the right contact, and then you could potentially reach out to them. And I'm going to show you how that looks like. So first thing, you need two other apps besides Clay to do that. One is called rss.app. And it's really, really cool. You can just create a feed, type in any keyword that it might be relatable or interesting for you. And this way it creates a feed for you. So this feed, you just click on XML here, copy it, and then you can build a list on Clay that pulls, or every time there's a new news article, pulls it into Clay. So the moment it happens, the moment it comes out, you have basically all these news outlets working for you now because they notify you and you can act on it. So we're getting all these news articles here, and the first thing that we do is we send the Clay gem to the article and let the Clay gem do its work. We want to find out, okay, is it even Australia in that case, because that was for an Australian company. We want to know, okay, is the weather related? Is it a severe weather event? What type of weather event? Was it a hailstorm, a flood? What are the affected cities? What are the affected states? What is the time frame? Did it already happen? Is it something that is forecasted? And give us a summary, and then please return it as a JSON, because we can work easier with a JSON in these tables. And then here, we're just getting all the values from the JSON basically. So we see the affected cities, and the issue is now this is just a text, and we can't create a new, or we want to perform a Google search for each city. So we have to separate these affected cities into new rows, and we do that with the extract values integration, I think. So we have the extract values integration. We use a regular expression here, and you can create them with ChatGPT. You just give her the string and tell her what you want to extract, and she creates the regular expression for you. And then it's really cool because now it returns a list that you can loop through. So now you can take an action on the list and write each item to a new row and a row in another table. That's what we're doing here. And that's what we're seeing then here in the second table. So this table contains all the affected areas, all the affected cities. And what it does here is, in case, that is just for example purposes, you can check the population with ChatGPT. Okay, what's the population of each city? Maybe some cities are too small, you don't want to reach out to those areas. And then we create a Google query here, property manager, and then it just names the city in Australia. And then the cool thing is next we're going to Serpa Dev. That's not logged in yet, but they have a super simple documentation. Like you just log in, it's all highlighted there, super easy to implement. And then you just perform a Google search, which basically contains that query and comes back with the results here, with the places. And here we now have all these property firms in the affected area. So now we can do the same. We can take an action on that list and we write it to a final table where we then enrich and qualify these companies. And that's pretty, if you work with Clay, that's pretty simple, pretty basic stuff. So you get the company here, First thing we do is we check, okay, the category, is it a property firm? And we do so without any AI, without anything. We're just using some basic JavaScript and check if the string contains the word property or real estate. If so, we enrich the company with LinkedIn, and then we find the right contacts at those companies. In this case, we're looking for founders, facility managers, property managers. And then if we couldn't find anyone, we have a fallback that we send the AI to the website and try to find a contact there. And now you could also put them into a growth machine campaign. You could put them into a smart lead campaign and reach out to them and have a copy that is based on the weather event, and you come in when they really might need your help. And now you just need to get creative and apply these. The whole thing that I find really powerful about this is the RSS feed. You have basically you can harness all these news outlets working for you, keeping you up to date, and you build a workflow around certain news or certain things. So yeah, I think that's a pretty cool feature. And the RSS feature is completely flying under the radar. I hear nobody talking about it. And I think it's one of the coolest features that Clay recently released.
Sorry, I think he's muted now. We're good. But
I agree.
Awesome. Amazing. I mean, RSS in general is just such I feel like it's so rarely used relative to how powerful it is. And also, I just loved this template because it shows I feel like people use Clay primarily for strictly outbound campaigns, but there are so many other insane data use cases you can use Clay.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Frankly, Clay, when Clay was started by the founder, he had no idea what it was going to be used for. It just happened to find outbound, and that's what people started using it for. But
yeah.
I mean, there's an insane amount of it. It's just a spreadsheet at the end of the day, and it's just a good way to use it. So I really appreciate you sharing.
I always say it's Google Sheets on steroids.
Exactly. Yeah, that's literally it's exactly it. I completely agree. It's just an insane, really, I mean, relatively easy to use compared to something like a Google Sheet. And so powerful.
Way easier.
Yeah.
Way easier. And if you're able to do a little bit of JavaScript as well, I think they're basically almost no limits.
For sure. Then you're really set. Yeah, thanks for sharing that one, David. That was awesome. I love seeing
welcome.
outbound use cases sometimes as well. But and again, it'd be awesome if you could throw that template into the chat. So I figured what we could do next is just a little Q&A. If you have any questions about any of these templates, feel free to go ahead and ask them. In the chat would be awesome. You can also just speak up if you want to. Either one's fine with us. But if you guys have any questions about any of these, or just anything in general to ask the experts about the things that they've demonstrated you, or at least the area that demonstrated you, we'd love to hear them. So somebody asked Josh, how do you enrich Clay with the output of Apify? Is that missing from your template?
No, I mean, I just put the URL in there, but if you were in Clay at the bottom, when you want to add to the sheet, there's a direct import from Apify, right? So Cody showed this too. I mean, you have to go in basically and map your API key and everything. But it's a pretty easy add. And so if you run 1,000 rows in Apify, and like Patrick said, there's all kinds of things, Instagram, Indeed, whatever you want to pull. It's like your own personal app store of data, right? But the nice thing is you don't have to have API skills necessarily. So you just connect it to Apify, you put in your API key, and then directly in Clay, you can import it. And if you run 1,000 rows in Apify, you're going to drop all 1,000 rows in there. I just made it cleaner by putting the output, which was the URL itself. Hopefully that helps, Greg.
Yeah, I can share my screen for 30 seconds and show you real quick. Is that cool? Is that cool, Patrick?
Yeah, totally. Go ahead.
30 seconds. So if you guys see create new right here, go to table and then scroll all the way down to where it says pull data from Apify actor. Choose your account, but if you click add your account, you're going to be able to grab your API key, which is right here. So settings, integration, and then copy this. From there, just click your API key, continue, and then whatever one you want to choose. That's the Apify actor that you already set up. And then just do this specific run. And then once you click continue, you can just map it out inside of the table. Pretty easy.
Yeah. Awesome. Appreciate it, Cody. Yeah, it's quite easy. The main thing is just connecting your Apify account, and then from there it's pretty intuitive. So awesome, appreciate it. So somebody just asked really quickly, can we get the list of recently funded startups? Crunchbase is one way to get the list, but is it possible to do it via Clay completely? Honestly, there aren't a lot of great filters in their main sources to do that. I would recommend using something like Crunchbase or Apollo, downloading or exporting as a CSV and putting them into Clay. The only other thing you could do is you could use, let's say you can import, let's say like 10,000 companies from LinkedIn. And there are a couple integrations that can find funding. So if you wanted to do it that way, you could just, you could get a list again of like 10,000 companies you're interested in, figure out which ones were recently funded. But yeah, to find ones that, are only recently funded, like that's the only thing you're looking for, I would probably use a Crunchbase or an Apollo to do that for right now. Hopefully soon they come out with something that allows you to do that. Let's see. Somebody asked David, did you pull the RSS feed with HTTP API?
No, you just can. Boy, let me just quickly share my screen and show you. Super simple. Screen. So all you do here, once you created your feed, you just copy that URL. And then when you go in Clay, you can create a new table. Create new table, and then you scroll down here, pull RSS feed, and then you paste it. That's it. And then you're set up and ready to go. It's really just a few clicks.
Yeah, it's incredibly easy. Yeah, so yeah, you don't have to use HTTP API to do it. You can just connect it directly. So appreciate it. Okay, awesome. So somebody said sometimes Clay doesn't find the contact I'm looking for, even though they're available on LinkedIn. How should I handle such situations? So this is an incredibly common issue with Clay, is sometimes they just don't have full LinkedIn coverage. Like you'll do an import people in LinkedIn and you'll get like 50% of the people that are actually there. I've been telling the Clay team to improve this as like priority number one, and they have been. So it's actually improved within the past couple days, and in a couple weeks it should be even more improved. However, in the meantime, if you want to supplement a search to make sure you get every single person that works for a specific company, given a certain job title, I would use the LinkedIn Sales Navigator integration. It has way better coverage, and you just paste the sales nav link, and it puts every person who's in that sales nav link into a Clay table. So I'd recommend using that. It's just a lot more reliable. It does cost more credits. It's like a credit per person to import them, but if you're really like if data accuracy is number one for you, or at least like data coverage is number one for you, I'd recommend doing that. Is Clay database growing? Patrick, do you think it's going to get bigger than the others? So Clay uses a series of data providers. So in short, yes, it is going to get bigger, but that's just because the data providers get better and we bring on more of them. Like we don't have a specific database ourselves. So Clay is essentially a spreadsheet that connects to these data providers, and we're bringing on more and more like weekly. So in short, yeah. Let's see. I think all the other ones seem to be answered either by Arturo or other people in the chat. I appreciated Arturo and other people in the chat. Arturo is one of our customer success people, literal goat of Clay. I mean,
He's a legend.
Yeah, I mean, I run an agency, and I would say he's probably the most expert Clay person I've met. And he just works at Clay doing customer success. He's like a saint. Like, didn't run his own agency. It's just for the people. He really is the goat. So let's see. Notion and Clay when? Honestly, no idea. I'll have to ask the team. But for now, if you want to do anything with Clay, like any automations, I would highly recommend using Zapier and connecting it to Clay via the HTTP API. There's a bunch of tutorials on how to do that. But I already have some set up like that. So I'll have let's say somebody books a meeting with me. I will get that Calendly in, I'll have a Calendly webhook that imports into Clay. I'll enrich the person in Clay, and then I'll send that via Zapier to a Notion table of my tiny little CRM of people who book meetings with me. So you can still totally do Notion stuff. It's just not like a direct integration. Let's see. Any other questions for our speakers here? I guess we'll wait a few seconds, see if anybody else has any others. Okay. I just asked, I still didn't get how I could scrape company domains on Indeed jobs. Doesn't Indeed jobs most Indeed jobs don't contain company domain? Any ideas for how to find it? Any of the speakers who've used Appify with Indeed, have any of you guys done Indeed Appify stuff? I honestly haven't yet, so I don't have the answer to that. I'm not sure how it works. But if not, yeah, I'm not sure.
Hey, Patrick, I haven't actually used the Indeed ones, but one thing I noticed with some of the scrapers is that the output is intended to give you a bunch of fields, and then you'll start running into limitations in Clay. So it gets a little technical, but one thing you can do is either write your own or modify one of the existing ones to just change the output to be like just the field you need. So that's just one tip I would give people on that.
Got it. Oh yeah, so some of the scrapers just have a ton of like unnecessary fields that pop out in the Clay. Is what you're saying.
Something else. Maybe let's say, for example, out of like 10, you get like 7 domains, but those 3 domains, they're like blank. For that, if you have the company description, I think Indeed gives you that, and then the company name, you may be able to run like some sort of ClayGen formula where it's like, hey, based off of the company description, based off the company name, find the domain and make sure that you're at least 90% confident. And that should give out a pretty high percent.
Yeah, even sometimes the Google integration in Clay, like for example, if I'm trying to find a company's LinkedIn, you can literally just put their domain and the word LinkedIn, and it'll have like a 98% accuracy. And then the second result it'll get you to 100. Like if you just map both out and use a formula to figure out which one is which. So,
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, there's definitely a way to find missing like domains or LinkedIn profiles, especially for like, again, like bigger companies, where it'll definitely show up as the first result in a search. So, cool. These were all pretty black belt templates. Very true. Most of them were. These were all pretty nuts. Any yellow belt ones that are wildly effective, mostly using GPT 3.5 from Enriched LinkedIn. So we actually have a templates page. I believe it's just clay.com/templates. It's on our website. And there are a bunch of really cool and not as complicated templates that you can access from there. I'll probably have, our team add some of the webinar ones on there as well, just because we're trying to have like a big library and, and have some of our creators get credited in their awesome templates. But yeah, go to clay.com/templates. There are a bunch of really good ones there to choose from. Where can I find Sales Navigator integration or import its search? I will show you really quickly. It's very easy. Let's see. Share my screen. Literally all you have to do is, well, first you got to go on Sales Nav and just do a search. As long as you're not including a company list, you can just do whatever search you want for people or companies. Actually, it might just be people. Let me see. Yeah, just people. But you do a people search. From there, just go to find people from Sales Nav URL. Literally just post the URL. You don't even have to connect your Sales Nav account. Just paste the Sales Nav URL in here. Tell us how many people. Yeah, tell how many people you want to return, and it'll give everybody you need. So that's how you do that.
Yep. Quick note though, it can't access your account, your active session. So make sure that you're not applying account related filters, for example, connection degrees, or it's not a safe search, stuff like that, because that will associate it with your account and it's not going to be able to import it. So it has to be just a general search overall.
Yes, exactly. Appreciate it, Arturo. Yes, very true.
Yep.
And as I mentioned before, don't use any lists, pre-existing lists as part of your search. So if you've already created a list before, don't be like, oh, it has to include these companies. It won't be able to do that either. So it's got to be, again, just a raw search. All right. If nobody's got any more, I'll wait like another like 20, 30 seconds or so. But if no one's got any more, we can just go ahead and call it. This has been sick. We had a lot of people show up, a lot of sick templates shared. And yeah, again, I plan on sharing them to everybody else. And also for all the people presenting these, I'll tell you how to do it, but there's like a finesse you can do where if you add your referral link to the end of these templates, then it counts as a referral. So just DM me if you want to know about that, because then I'll share it. I can share it with that. Maybe you get some extra Clay credits as a result. But yeah, hopefully we're planning on doing, like the team internally, we're planning on doing a lot more of these just because it's a great way to show off how powerful Clay is. And it's kind of like a really cool Q&A session as well. Any interesting things on the roadmap that you know of this quarter? Even if I did, can't leak it, I'm going to gatekeep those. But you'll see them when they come out. But yeah, I mean, with Clay, there's always like a million things. And I'm always telling them to release them faster. But, our engineering team, is incredible, but they can only release so many things at once. Also, I kind of like whoever just commented that. I actually do like the idea of offering like a grading system for templates and tables. Like I kind of do like that because some of them are really complicated and they might not seem it off the bat, and then some of them are really easy. So maybe I'll suggest that to the team. Like, yeah, just like have them grade how difficult a table might be. Maybe I'll do that in my YouTube videos as well, just so people don't watch a video and they're like, why on earth? Like this seems impossible. Wish there was some free Clay credits, easy to burn them when testing. I mean, if you sign up, you get the 1,000 credit trial. And then if you refer a friend to Clay and they sign up, you get 3,000 credits a piece. So there's another way to get some free credits. So if you got a lot of friends who like sales prospecting, you can dang near get a plan for that. But anyway, I'll hop it off. I'll end it there. Huge thanks to all the people who presented their templates today. They were insane. I'm glad we had some real experts on here to show off, what can be done with Clay, and hope you guys all got some value out of this. But I appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.